tonight, and that was a pretty crazy game between Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers. Post-game shows just kind of peeping it out, and it's Joe Flacco and Jamar Chase on the podium with Rich Sherman and everybody. Um, wow. I did not expect a Thursday night game like that between those two guys, two quarterbacks over 40 years old. Pretty crazy. So I'll kind of chat about that for a little bit until everybody gets on here, and then we'll start talking about how George Kittle's coming back for Sunday Night Football versus the Atlanta Falcons. Um, yeah, pretty interesting game. I didn't think it was going to be that exciting, but Joe Flacco's been in the Cincinnati building for 10 days is what they said, and he's already connected really quickly with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And man, I don't know why it's I wanted Joe Flacco to beat Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. I think of because Pittsburgh has 6 Super Bowls, we don't want him to win anymore, right? No one should get 6, and right? It's 6 for Pittsburgh, 6burg, and 5 for Dallas, 5 for the Niners. So I don't really want Pittsburgh to win again. I'd rather have the Bengals win, to be honest. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat, and we'll start talking about what happened today at practice. George Kittle was back on the field, and he went through his whole regular process. Went through warming up. He went through drills with his tight end coach. He went through offensive blocking, and then he caught some passes from Mac Jones and from Brock Purdy, who was out there in a limited fashion. So Mac Jones was full participation. Brock Purdy was limited participation. So what that tells me is I think that Mac Jones is starting again. And, they want to go with the healthiest quarterback. Hello, Strawberry. But good to see George Kittle out there for a second practice. He spoke to us after practice and said, hey, I expect to play on Sunday. And he said it was really, really hard to not come back too early. He said I had to try not to not be an idiot and wait it out and be patient, which is really tough. He said he was so excited to play football at the end of last season, was ready, felt healthiest he's ever felt after the season and getting a lot of time, time off because it was a shorter season last year. So for George Kittle to be sidelined with a hamstring injury, said it was really tough for him. He said it was like a rubber band snapped the back of his leg, and he said he tore it really badly. Not off the bone, but he said thankfully it was not off the bone, but it was so bad. But he's back, and he took his time, and he should be back on the field on Sunday, and I think that makes a huge difference for the 49ers run game. They need him out there. Luke Farrell and Jake Tonjes have done a great job, but George Kittle is the best tight end in the game, so future Hall of Famer, All-Pro, Pro Bowler. So the way opposing defenses have to plan for George Kittle, because he's so good at run blocking, he's so good at pass protection, he's also great at running routes and catching the ball. He's a threat. So for him to not have been out there for so many weeks is a lot. And him getting back out there will change the way Kyle Shanahan can scheme it up. It's going to change the way opposing defenses can attack the 49ers because they're not going to stack the box. It's been so challenging for Christian McCaffrey. He's so excited that George is back, not only because it's his locker mate, but because his attitude, his energy, and because of what George Kittle can do for the run game. I think Christian McCaffrey has a huge game. It made me think of the Niners when I was watching this Thursday night game because there was so much talk about how Cincinnati didn't have a run game, and they did tonight. And that could be the way it happens for the 49ers. The 49ers have had such a tough time. Christian McCaffrey has 0.7 yards before contact, average for the entire season, which is crazy. So let's see here. Bengals, 108 yards, 9.8 yards average for Brown, P. Ryan had 31 yards, 4.4 average. Flacco threw for 342 yards. So the Bengals have had a really tough time running the ball, and the Steelers are generally a pretty good defense. I mean, they have T.J. Watt, and they've got a lot of guys out there. Steelers are better. They had a pretty good game as well. Pat Freiermuth. So Aaron Rodgers only threw to tight ends, and they had a ton of rushing yards as well. So rushing yards, 142 for Cincinnati, 147 for the Steelers. So just a lot of ground game. And I think that George Kittle being out there is going to change that for the 49ers. Let's see. Yes, glad he's getting healthy too. Why didn't the 49ers just put Brock on IR? Because they thought he was going to get better. He felt like it was better, and he aggravated the injury when he went back out there. So that's why he did not go on IR, and they figured that he was going to get back. We aren't going to see him until week 10. No, I think Brock will be back before week 10, for sure. The one that I'm confused about, excuse me, is Jordan Watkins. Jordan Watkins has been an unhealthy scratch, and it's week 7. He's had the calf injury. I know that they are counting all the IRs to return because they don't get that many. I believe it's only 8. So, yes, they have turf in Houston. In Houston, I remember was it there? I think it's Houston where they have coconut husks. And it's ground up coconut husks, and it's not just the rubber flakes in the turf. Always not good to play on artificial at all, but they feel like it's better because it's more organic to have that broken up coconut husk all over the field. Maybe not. I don't know what the scientific data is behind that, but let's see. Met Death Turf in week 9. Yeah, that's a good name for it. I'm going to use that, and I'll give you credit. Who's that? Strawberry. Met Death Turf. I was not there for 2020 because it was COVID, but I remember watching that game. I'm like, good Lord, it was like a body bag game. It was week 2. I did pull up that list of players that were injured, and it was long. I'll have to bring it out and post it again. Ricky Pearsall is going to be out. He has not practiced all week. Nick Martin, I think, is going to get a shot. So we asked Robert Saleh today if Nick Martin is, going to get a chance now. Why hasn't he had any time? He's like, he had a really good practice yesterday and today. And now with Fred Warner out, he's playing better on special teams. That was the true test. That kind of like that 4th, 5th linebacker role, you have to be able to play on special teams. So they did do that, and he did do that, and he's had a good week of practice, so he could get some time. Doesn't seem smart to bring him back on a turf room. Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I think it's not great, but I think it's worse for ankles and hamstrings. I think if his shoes fit well and it's offering more support and there's like less flexion in the shoe, I think that's good. Nick Martin on special teams or from scrimmage. I mean, I think he's got to be able to do both, but I think he may get a chance as long as he does participate in special teams, then he'll get some chance to maybe be worked in. Let's see. All right, so let's go through the injury report from today. I did talk to Kalia Davis, and just fascinating. So he still has stitches in his knuckle. He broke the first bone in his hand, in his right hand, and no, left hand. I'm like, where I was facing him. But he gets a temporary cast on it every single day, and he gets a temporary one for the games. And he says he holds onto this piece of foam. It's like holding onto a dumbbell about that diameter. And then they give him like a temporary cast the whole way around. And he says he likes the extra couple inches that he gets on the end of his hand because it adds a little length. So he's able to push off. He has to strike the offensive lineman. He can't hold on because obviously he has no finger movement because he's got the club. But he says he's it's like nothing now. He's used to it. He actually likes lining up in a 4-point stance. He has a little bit of more height because he's like that 2 inches. It helps him. It actually ends up being strategically good for Kalia Davis to do that. All right, so Kalia Davis, full participation. Kevin Givens, pectoral, full participation. I do think corresponding moves. Kevin Givens gets activated from the PUP list, and George Kittle gets activated, obviously, from IR. Fred Warner will go on IR, and then there has to be someone else who comes off the 53, is waived or released. And then if they clear waivers, they can go back to the practice squad. If they are 3 years or more, they will get they will get released, and then they can have the choice to sign within their team, or they can be bumped down to the practice squad. Renardo Green with his neck was limited yesterday and today. Guys who were out, Yetur Gross-Matos out yesterday and today. He will not play this week. Same with Ricky Pearsall, out yesterday and today. Ricky Pearsall is not going to play on Sunday. Marquez Valdez-Scantling's a new one. He did not participate with the calf injury. And of course, Fred Warner, those are your DNPs. Limited participation today. Participation, Renardo Green. Juwan Jennings was out there. George Kittle is listed as limited. Sky Moore didn't practice yesterday, was limited today. Dominic Pooney. Yesterday, Kyle Shanahan said he was limited. He ended up getting downgraded to not participating yesterday. He was back in limited fashion today. I think it's just residual knee stuff that he was dealing with preseason. I remember watching him walk off the field in Las Vegas, and I was like, oh, that's not good. So the fact that he's playing at all is pretty amazing. Jordan Watkins limited again yesterday and today. CJ West limited yesterday with his thumb, full participation on Thursday. And then Michael Williams has a thumb injury as well, but full participation yesterday and today. So that's the kind of rundown for the Niners. As far as the Falcons go, Billy Bowman, safety, did not participate with a hamstring injury. Leonard Floyd, remember him? He has been out he was out Wednesday. He was back on Thursday. He just had an illness. So we'll see Leonard Floyd on the field. Philippe Franks, their tight end, had calf injury. He was limited. Jordan Fuller, their safety, he was back to full participation. Same with Taquan Graham, LaCal London. Those are defensive linemen. They were full participants. Taquan Graham is a calf injury. LaCal London is a triceps injury. Tackle Jake Matthews did not participate yesterday or today with an ankle injury, so potentially he may not be able to play. Ray McLeod, remember him? He did not participate today, but it says not injury related. Limited participation. Why can't I talk today? Limited participation for Darnell Mooney, their wide receiver. Cornerback Clark Phillips did not participate yesterday or today with a triceps injury and an illness. Jalen Walker, their linebacker, groin injury, did not participate all week as well. So they are dealing with some injuries like the 49ers, but the 49ers list is like this long, and the Atlanta Falcons list is like this long. Hello. What do you think Mac and Kittle's chemistry is going to be like going to the Falcons game? Well, at least they had some work during training camp. Limited, but some. And yesterday and today, I think the good thing about George Kittle is tight ends are like security blankets for quarterbacks, and he's reliable. He's going to be where he's supposed to be. George Kittle is a guy who makes very few mistakes because he's been doing it so long. So I think he's a guy that Mac Jones will rely on. Any news on Jordan James? No. At practice, but he is behind Christian McCaffrey, Brian Robinson, Isaac Guerrero, and then you also have Kyle Juszczyk. So no news on him. What's going on with BA? You think there should be? I don't know. John Lynch was on the radio today and said that he saw Brandon Ayuk and he was rehabbing. He's improving. He's getting better, and they're hopeful. Kyle Shanahan said earlier in the week their target date for, to maybe get him back into practice is week 10. It's week 7, so we got like another month before we potentially see Brandon Ayuk on the practice field. Um, let's see what else. You always look for me during the game, but I am on the field during pregame, and then during the game, I'm in the press box, so not very visible up there. Um, anything else you guys want to talk about? I think that's pretty much it from today. Tomorrow will be a short practice that we get to see. It's mostly a walkthrough, but I think really the big news of the day is that George Kittle says he's going to play. I had a chance to talk to Eddy Pineiro, and man, what a cool story. If you don't know, he loved soccer, but decided to play football because he knew that it was a better opportunity to make money to take care of his parents. He's from Nicaragua and Cuba, and he bought his parents a house 2 doors down from him in Miami. I met his parents in in Tampa at the game. He had a heart attack a couple months ago, so he can't fly out to Levi's. He can't fly at all yet, so he hasn't been cleared by the doctors to fly. But once he does, he'll be out kind of following Eddy around, and it's a cute story. Eddy takes care of his mom and his dad. He said he doesn't want his dad to ever work another day in his life because he's done everything for him. And he said, his dad played soccer, loved it, didn't have great money management. And so he ended up working construction. And so a couple years ago, Eddy figured out that he had made enough money to, as he puts it, retire his dad, to help his dad retire. And someone else said, yeah, so when did you retire your dad? I'm like, to me, that sounds like, that's what you say in what spy movies they say someone retires. Anyways, but so cool. And I mean, Eddy really loved playing soccer and played football. I mean, he loves it, but it's not his true love. His true love is soccer. And so, but it's a sacrifice he made to help support his parents. And they were so proud of him. I met them on the sidelines and helped him take a picture of his family. I'm like, I don't know why I didn't take a picture. I take a picture of everything. But I helped his mom have a picture of the three of them on the sidelines. And I think it was the first game they were able to go to this year. So he's just such a nice guy and loves that everybody's calling him Eddy Pineiro. He's like, whatever gets the fans excited and gets them, all juiced up. He's like, I'm all for that. And he said, after all, we are entertainers and we're providing entertainment for people. And he just loves that the fan base has been so warm and welcoming, and same with the locker room. So I'm just transcribed the whole interview, and I'm going to get some more information from him and trying to get some family photos from his family of him because I think it's such a great story. So love Eddy Pineiro, and he's so easygoing and fun to talk to. He just sat at his locker for 10 minutes and talked to us all. And just a great story. And he said, his dad taught him everything. His dad won games for them by making penalty kicks. He lost games for his teams by missing penalty kicks. So his dad has a true understanding of what it's like to be in that type of position. So it's helped him emotionally and mentally. So it's really cool. Yeah. And I love his attitude and his energy. And, I'm happy for Jake Moody with the Chicago Bears. I love that he had the walk-off kick. But I think Eddy Pineiro, yes, like you said, is such a better fit for this locker room and the confidence he has. And he said the pressure to play in front of both of his parents. He's like, I had to play good because my parents were there. It's like I really wanted to play well for my parents who were in the building. So just a sweet story, fun. And hey there, I'll be writing it up soon. And I'm just waiting for pictures. I want baby pictures. I want soccer pictures of Eddy. So hopefully we get those. And heading back up tomorrow, Matt Mayoko's off, and I'll be up there. I'm interviewing Chris Collinsworth. Let's see how long I've been on here. Almost 20 minutes. Maybe guys a couple more minutes if you have any questions. But yeah, Eddy's a good dude. it's not often that you get a chance to um, have a great conversation with a kicker and really enjoy his story and just about his whole essence is just really cool, really positive, and he talked about when he was having a rough go, when he wasn't as accurate, when he was having issues, and so he leaned on his dad, his mom and his dad. And if you check out his social media, there's pictures with both of them, and he misses them so much, and it was the first time he had seen them in a month because he hadn't been able to get out to Miami. So good stuff. George Kittle's back. Let's see. Let's say on the radio that Bosa was. Yes, that's another one. Nick Bosa was in the building, and I know I can't believe Eddy Pineiro wasn't on the team either. Nick Bosa is back, and a lot of people have talked to him, so they're all very excited. I think him being around, and I do know Fred Warner will be back. This is a funny quote. So, I asked Robert Saleh, hey, Fred Warner's leadership is so strong. He spoke to the team after the game. And I mean, don't you think that his leadership lingers even in his absence? And he's like, yeah, but he'll be around the locker room. I texted him the other day and I was like, you ain't dead. You can still hang out and grab a cup of coffee and shoot the shit. That's actually in the quotes. But no, he's Fred, and Fred's special. Like I said, it's unfortunate, but it's someone else's time. It's their opportunity, and really looking forward to seeing all these guys grow in their roles. So it is. Christian McCaffrey kind of said the same thing. I'm excited to see these guys out there. Tatum Bethune has been a leader. No one's Fred, but he's going to get his opportunity. And D. Winters has been there, so it's the young guys. There's going to be some mistakes, but I think the goal to beat teams is have the least amount of mistakes. And man, they need to get an interception, right? Outside of that, I think that's all I've got for you. Will he be at the game? If he is in the game, he'll be up in the press box booth area. He won't be down on the field because guys that can't move that well because he had an ACL injury. I don't think he'll be at the game because I think there'd be too much visibility. But if he is, he'll be kind of in the press box area because there are players that are injured like that won't be down on the field because what happens? I mean, like Brock Purdy, I think he was down on the field last time, but if they are not mobile enough to get out of the way, if the play goes to the bench, sometimes they run into the bench, right? If someone is too injured to move out of the way, they could get more hurt. So don't want that to happen. So I don't know if he'll be out there at all. Maybe he'll just be, behind the scenes, but it is good to hear that Nick Bosa was in the building. All right, everybody, more tomorrow. All right. I also did a freestanding video, so I'll post that in just a little bit. Please subscribe, please like, and thanks for hanging in there and listening to me yammer on about your team. Bye.